Jay Carey and some of those great handball players of the past have done to help build this game. Tony Healy and Owen Kennedy, of course, are in that realm. What they've done to help build handball in Ireland and bring it to this world stage is really, truly one of the reasons why we're even in this position of having this huge court. And actually,
Point.
Dave, I was talking to Tony Healy about this during one of the live broadcasts, and I said, Tony, no one's ever going to say thank you, but it was really what you and Paul have done in the United States, which has opened up the eyes here in Ireland for those that have created this complex. And Tony agreed. He said, you know, we went back to the States and we saw all of those big complexes, and you guys would show pictures of these amazing facilities and all the people, and you started broadcasting live and webcasting. It's really paved the way for Ireland to try to top the United States and what you guys always do as what comes natural.
So it's over the line.
We have taken over the handball world when it comes to the top players in the women's and the men's brackets and the juniors, and now it's time to take over the top facility. And I think they've done that here at City West Arena at the World Handball Championships. But it is for guys like Tony Healy and Paul Brady and Duxie and Tom, that Walter O'Connor, and those that have stepped up to really bring it to the attention of those that seek the opportunity to get handball out in a mass exposure.
Well, I believe Paul Brady and Tony Healy traveling consistently in the early 2000s and late 1990s to all the pro stops. Elevated the Irish game and also the exposure to the Irish game, as those guys came over, Dave, and were consistently losing to Chapman and Bike and Munoz, but after 3 or 4 years on the tour, really started to establish themselves as the top players. And that inspired a lot of these younger players, such as Robbie McCarthy, Brian Carroll, and so many of these juniors that now embrace this sport as being one of the national pastimes here in Ireland.
Hand out. 3 serves 3.
We're all together at 3 here with Desi serving. We haven't really seen that gigantic power from Desi Keegan as of this second.
Screen ball. Screen ball.
Oh, I don't know about that. We had an opportunity to look right down the barrel of that gun here. Owen Kennedy was screened from that gigantic black hole on the left side wall.
3 serves 3. Point.
Joe McCann is a really smooth player, Dave. He's one of the top-ranked players in Ireland.
4 serves 3.
I've seen him travel to the United States on a couple of occasions. Unfortunately, his last trip, Dave, he came to the event in Tucson 2010, injured, really was unable to show all the American fans and players his talent. He's also a pretty prolific announcer, Dave, as I've heard him and you broadcasting a few games from the Irish Nationals. He really knows his handball.
4 serves 3.
4-3. We were hoping to get Smokin' Joe McCann in the broadcast booth, but we're unable to do that so far. Boy, there's that power from Desi Keegan. And then he comes back with a little paddle, and there's a replay called there.
Held up. It's a replay.
Tom did not like that, but Desi was going to go in and hit that ball really hard, and he held up and just paddled it. It was a safety hold from Desi, and then he followed through and just hit it to the front wall and raised his hand immediately, and the referee saw it. Now, our referee a couple nights ago would have called an avoidable on that, but I don't know where Desi would have been able to go. These big guys get hit with the ball a lot more, and their opponents are always mad at them
Replay.
But it's one of those difficult things, Dave. You just can't make a guy lose weight. I told a guy one time when he was hitting me, I was like,
4 serves 3.
It's not my fault, you know. My grandpa was a big guy.
Ball.
But if you want me to get rid of that,
Second
then you're
serve.
also going to have to get rid of letting the ball drop and killing the ball off the back wall, which is what you do best. What I do best is just stand here and get hit with balls. I didn't really say it like that. I think you get the picture.
I actually don't.
Skip ball. Side out.
That's a good
That was
call.
a skip. That was down. No good.
You heard the sound from here.
3 serves 4.
Dave, as you mentioned, Aaron, the other bombshell, Garner, originally from San Antonio. He's the younger brother of 2009 world runner-up, Alan Garner. And it looks like, Dave, when you lose a Garner, you gain a Garner. As Alan Garner taking a little bit of time off and Aaron filling his shoes. Unfortunately for Aaron, bowing out here in the round of 32 to promising Irish junior Killian Carroll.
3 serves 4. Foot fault. Foot fault. Still your back foot, Tom. You keep stepping back over the line. Towel?
Be great to see a replay of that. What Tom Sheridan is doing is he's foot faulting on the back line, which is very rarely called.
What?
You're sure you're doing a bit of work
by the referee.
Hey, it's a foot
In fact,
fault. Keep stepping back.
We've only seen it a couple times, but what Tom Sheridan is doing is when he takes a step on his serve, he's stepping over the line back, and that gives, in theory, the server a little bit more lunge time. Here's the front camera view. Watch his back left foot. There's the step out of the box, and then he steps forward, and the referee sees that.
Well, you wouldn't see that with the traditional American swing because the Irish whip requires more, Dave, of a drop and backloading and pushing in. For the American stroke is more of a glide into the front side.
Watch Tom's foot there. Now, this time he doesn't even do it. Doesn't even take a step back with that foot. Maybe he does that more when he's standing in the middle of the court. Dave will try to track that during this live broadcast. This very well could be Tom Sheridan's last
replay.
That
Open handball championship. That was close to an avoidable.
I thought it should have been.
Especially when you see the opponent digging for the right corner before the shot's hit.
3 serves 4.
Oh, and now you're hearing the referee saying, watch that. We're going to call the next one avoidable. Which I find it odd that a referee would have to warn somebody on an avoidable. Whether it's an avoidable or it's not. It's one of the two things.
I think we've discussed that ad nauseum.
Not in this match. We have new viewers for every match.
Okay.
4 serves 3.
So in that case, I guess we can just roll the tape then from previous matches. Just head down and have a sandwich.
We don't even need to be here.
5 serves 3.
This is just a hologram of me. I'm really at the nearest buffet table right now.
And out.
I know in your radio glory days, Dave, you'd have a lot of shows that
5 serves 3.
aired at 4 in the morning, but did you actually film those the night before and just?
Yes.
Okay.
Second serve.
It's not filming, it was recording.
Oh.
You don't film in radio, that's the whole idea.
Well, you do have a great face for radio, so I guess recording would be best.
6 serves 3.
I deserve that. Oh, and a terrible hand air right there from Owen Kennedy.
That's one of those strange shots that happens in doubles to the right side player. You would never hit that shot with your left hand in singles. When you're pinned against the right wall, sometimes you have to take awkward shots with your left.
Point. 8 serves 3.
That right there is actually a side out.
Well, he didn't take a swing.
8 serves 3.
Well, it's past 10 seconds now.
Not since the referee called the score.
Long ball.
Dave, I remember the only time I saw you referee a match, you called a side out at 10-10 in the tiebreaker when Tracy Davis took 11 seconds to serve the ball after he'd called the score.
Side out. Hey, Desi.
Just following the rules.
Desi. Well, wait till I'm done calling the score to serve, okay? 3 serves 8.
I'd actually like to see Aaron Garner and Desi Keegan in a fist fight.
I was going to say in a handball match, but
no, I think that would be enjoyable, wouldn't you?
That hit you? Replay.
Well, Aaron is a trained MMA fighter. Desi is a boxer.
Now, Tom Sheridan's saying that this ball hit him in the top of the head here, Dave. If we can get a replay on that very last shot, Desi says that he wasn't even close to hitting him there.
It's his call if it hit him. We're going to replay that. 3 serves 8.
I don't recall Desi even being close. I think it was the wind from Desi's glove going over the top of Tom's head. It wasn't the ball that did it.
4 serves 8.
At the next available location, we'll throw that in there. And it's no knock to Tom. I think he just thought it was the ball, but I believe it was just the bottom of Desi's glove or the wind from Desi's swing. Aaron Garner, as you were saying, is a MMA Ultimate Fighting study where he really loves that sport. And Desi Keegan, a former Golden Glove style boxer, you might know more about that, but that would be an interesting, putting the gloves on these guys and letting them battle it out, even though they're probably in 2 different weight divisions.
Well, generally, Dave, in the octagon, it's the MMA fighters who've had a huge edge on the boxers.
Look at that get right there from Desi Keegan. Backhanded flip to the front wall, and then Tom Sheridan closes it out. That was one of the best rallies of this match, and even the tournament. Beautiful get from Joe McCann to set that up. Owen Kennedy goes to the right corner kill. Backhanded flip from Desi Keegan, and then put away from Tom Sheridan, the legend.
Aaron Garner doesn't remember much from his MMA training days. He said he got knocked out over 26 times. That's unconscious, Dave.
Five serves 8.
I know, Dave, you haven't been knocked out since you saw the bill last time you took Dave Chapman to dinner. They actually had to take you out of the restaurant in a stretcher. But they still did manage to get your credit card out. How are the payments coming on that dinner, Dave?
Well, that was back in 2002, and I'm still making payments. My gosh, look at that get from the big guy. Looked like his helmet came off there. Highly entertaining match. That's why it was picked as the editor's choice when the broadcast schedule was released today. And then Tom Sheridan misses that ball off the back wall. Desi Keegan is ailing here. The back of his head smacked the back of the wall, knocked off his eye guards and headband, and now he's feeling it just a little bit.
Desi slid into the right side wall, making that pick. And he banged the back of his head a little bit there. That's a dangerous spot to hit. You'd rather get banged in the front of the head.
You'd rather just not get banged at all. Now I'd like to see Desi and Aaron Garner.
Now that he's a little bit woozy?
Now there's a disadvantage. Let's look at this replay here. This is the ball where Desi Keegan goes over to that right wall and hits Tom Sheridan, I believe, right here. That's where Tom Sheridan said that the ball hit his head. And it very well could have. From that angle, it looked like it could have actually hit Tom Sheridan.
Yeah.
That's true. I think it's certainly Tom's call there. I don't think we can disagree with him, but
I thought we could, but
it doesn't look like we can.
Doesn't look like we can. You're watching the World Handball Championships here in Dublin, Ireland, alongside
8.
Broadcast pal Dave Fink. My name is Dave Vincent. We're back onto the court here. Short ball, Tom Sheridan.
Second serve.
Now serving. 5-8. First game.
Joe McCann and Desi Keegan, Dave, will be making the trip to Southern California next week to play doubles together in the U.S. Open. Unlike here, Dave, where players are playing both ways, singles and doubles, at the U.S. Open, players only allowed to play in one division. So these guys will be just focusing on the doubles, and there's some really strong teams there in that division, including yourself, Dave, and your local Tucson buddy, Chris Maldonado. Owen Kennedy has made 4 hand airs already in this first game. We counted in Tucson the last time he played on American soil and advanced to the final there.
Serve 6.
He made only 6 hand airs in the entire tournament leading up to the final.
Replay. 8 serve 6.
I know you mentioned, Dave, that Owen and Tom Sheridan have played together quite a bit before. I don't know how much 40 by 20 they've played together. It has to be difficult for Owen to play the right side here in the small alley.
Eight serve 6.
Sheridan popping that ball back to the roof.
Replay.
Desi Keegan taking off the back wall. Little contact there. Referee's calling for replay, but the players aren't replaying.
Contact.
They're continuing to play.
If you hold up, I'm going to call it. You held up. There was contact.
It was so long ago, I don't think Desi even remembers holding up.
Yeah, you stopped. I called it earlier. 8 serve 6.
Joe McCann is a very active right side player who will come around and control the deep court as a right side guy. He and Desi are playing an in and out version of the I formation, meaning that he will stay traditional but then go in at any moment and back up Desi Keegan, who likes to play more of an up front left.
Yeah, nice.
Just a different style. That's why these guys play pretty good together, because you have no defense for it if you haven't played against somebody that plays the left side up front formation, Dave. And I know you're not a doubles guy per se. You have played a lot of doubles over your life, but it is a little confusing sometimes when the other team lines up and starts doing something that's not traditional. Traditional would be you play the left, I play the right, and then every now and then you'll see that I formation, which is more the Southern California way of playing doubles at a top level. But here with Desi and Joe, they'll play the I formation. They'll play side to side, but more often than not, it's Desi who's up front paddling as a left side guy. It's just a really strange format.
9 serve 6.
Thank you for the no comment on that.
This match, Dave, is 25 minutes old, and they've only scored 15 points between them. I think both of us, Dave, are expecting 2 either really high-scoring games or 3 high-scoring games. At this rate, Dave, this could be a 2.5-hour match.
Point.
Which means, Dave, you and I will be in the booth until about 3 a.m. tonight.
That's my estimate.
Last night, you and I actually hung out, Dave, socially. Actually went pretty well.
There were a lot of people that commented on the fact that they saw us together in public without our headsets on. And I felt a little embarrassed, to be honest, but I went with it.
Well, we're being transparent about it, though. It did happen. We're admitting to it. We might even try it again 3 or 4 years from now.
Well, last night went well. It's a timeout here. You're watching the World Handball Championships quarterfinals of the Men's Open. And there will be a 2-minute break here as Joe McCann is being ordered to change his shirt. We're going to take a break, too, here in the booth. We'll be back in just a bit. You stick around.
No.
At racerate.com.
5 more points up. 5 more points up. Hey, man. You're lucky I'm not calling the screen every time they hit it down the left. You guys are playing close, man. You can't have the hinder when you want it and then not want it. Huh? Huh? Yeah. It's 10 to 6. Shirt timeout. Huh?
Not much room in there, right?
Yeah, there's not much room, man. You and Tom play really close. You guys are just right here.
Form of intimidation.
I know. You're bigger.
By much?
By a lot. All right, time in. Score is 10, serve 6.
Unfortunately, they're not on the same team.
But both teams now being represented by WPH Law, which has to feel pretty good.
Nice shot right there. And another point.
Joe throws a nice natural on that Irish
11,
whip.
serve 6.
Ball runs straight down the right side wall.
Hand out. 11, serve 6.
Owen Kennedy, Dave, is so competitive. You see a fist pump there as he gets a half out.
Long ball.
Charlie
Second
Shanks
serve.
telling me, Dave, that he and Owen Kennedy played doubles together in Italy. One wall, big ball. The semifinals were on Saturday afternoon, and the finals would have been at 7 o'clock at night on Sunday at the same time as their flight. And Owen told Charlie, in no uncertain terms, there's no way we can win this semifinal because I can't play the final. I have to be at work tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and I can't miss this flight. After telling Charlie that day for about an hour, Owen went in there and played as hard as he absolutely could. Had no idea during the match that his flight was coming up and he wouldn't be able to play the final. That's just how competitive he is.
I thought you were going to end that by saying he had no idea that his work went on strike and he had the rest of his life off, but apparently the story didn't end that way.
Well, not everyone's Emmett Pashot. So
I was thinking maybe the place burned down or something. Hoping for a really good story.
6 serves 11.
Please put drama in your story next time. 6 serves 11.
I felt like I kind of lost my way there a little bit.
I was hoping somebody was going to get airlifted on a helicopter to the medic place, but it didn't happen.
Replay, screen ball.
I agree with that, even though it was an inside-out pickup right there. Desi Keegan really shaking his head at Aaron Garner. It's not an easy job to referee these top doubles games because literally, Dave, there's a screen taking place on every single play at one point.
I agree. I think it's virtually impossible.
That's why I believe the singles play should have more reffing like those that call a doubles match, or they just allow more things to happen. It seems like you have two different styles, one in doubles and one in singles.
I agree. There's generally, during a 20-plus shot rally in doubles, at least 3 screens that are not called. In singles, if you have one even possibility of a screen, it's called.
Foot fault. You're going over the back line still. Second serve.
Personally, Dave, I prefer the big court for doubles, the 60 by 30 court. You know, in squash, Dave, that they use a court that's twice the size of singles to play doubles.
7 serves 11.
I believe we should be doing that in handball as well. Just too congested in there for me.
Well, that's the great thing about doubles is the fact that it is congested. I love playing doubles, and I also love being in everyone's way.
8 serves 11.
Boy, and both of these balls are floored by McCann and Keegan.
9
and back-to-back points being scored here from
moment of silence, 9-11.
And we're back. Joe McCann takes that with a left hand, and here's Tom Sheridan back down to the ground. It'll be a big setup, but Sheridan's a lefty, and he punches that with his right. Desi goes with that tomahawk. Look where Desi's standing, Dave. Front left, and Joe's controlling the back, as if he's the left side guy. Desi pops out now in the I formation. Joe's exploited because he's too far back. That time they took care of that swapping I formation.
And Tom and Owen trailed 6-11 coming into this service inning. They've now scored 4 points to cut the deficit to just 1.
Replay.
Owen had a pretty good look at a kill there. A paddle re-kill, but he lifted it.
10 serves 11.
I think Tom expecting Owen to go for the kill there, and we had the hander. And Owen with a swing and a miss off one of those really squirrely balls that hits the front wall ceiling and comes down at an 80-degree angle.
11 serves 10.
80 degrees, Dave, is even more difficult than 90.
Hand out. Eleven serves 10. Long. Second serve.
Desi's one of the hardest hitters in the game. Is not known for having one of the best serves, which generally, Dave, goes hand in hand.
Desi kept taking the shot. I thought you wanted him there. Setups.
This match was scheduled to start at 1:30 p.m. here local time, and it's already 3:18 p.m.
Owen Kennedy's father, Eugene, in the gallery here, Dave, always supporting his son. Eugene's also a top Masters player. He's won a number of national championships, both here in Ireland and in the United States. Really a fine gentleman, just like his son.
Well, he just defeated Merv Deckard in the 60s to win the World Championship. So he's riding high right now.
And the flying Keegan, Dave, taking off at the short line and connecting with that re-kill just in front of the foot fault line. So he had some airtime there, Dave. Nice control also as he cups the outside of the ball.
Hey, Tom, it's just a towel timeout.
Re-kills
Tom, it's just a towel timeout. You have to
front
stay in the
wall,
court.
side
You can't
wall.
come out for, it's not a timeout. Okay.
And here's a replay of the flying Keegan here. Here he goes. We talk about vertical leap, Dave, but what about lateral leap? It was about 2.5 feet for the big guy.
10 serves 11.
Interesting there, Dave. During that towel timeout, Aaron Garner telling Tom Sheridan he couldn't get a drink of water, had to stay in the court. I've never seen a referee enforce that rule. I'm not even sure that is a rule, but it sounded good.
And Tom Sheridan hitting the bottom board here.
Serves 11.
Tom Sheridan will not go gently into the night as he wants to prolong his career for at least one more match.
There's that power from Desi Keegan. Look at that shot, down low.
Side out. Together at 11.
Now we're all together.
The galleries here, Dave, still decompressing, I think, after Tuesday night's unbelievable finals. I think, Dave, we'll see that energy back into this arena tomorrow night for the men's and women's doubles final. Particularly, Dave, if we have Americans versus the Irish, that really seems to pull all
11.
the emotions.
Second serve.
Now, Desi, Dave, hitting the middle of the back wall with that first serve. Why is that any different than hitting your serve into the ground or hitting the side wall first? I don't understand why that's an automatic side out, but yet hitting a serve 10 feet high off the back wall
I'm going to start calling avoidables if you guys are making contact.
Is not also a side out.
11 serves 11.
I agree with you on that. What would happen in tennis, Dave, if the server hit the ball into the gallery in the air?
No, it's just a fault. It's a second serve. It's not a point.
So if a guy hits a ball into the left wall or into the ground or the ceiling, it should just be a second serve, right?
That's what I think. Always thought that. Logically, it doesn't make sense to
But an outdoor ball, couldn't you just shank a ball over the roof just to get some extra time?
Well, I believe an outdoor ball, it's a little bit different because if you're taking the chance to serve out wide, there should be a penalty if you miss it.
Replay.
But in indoor, it just doesn't seem to make sense. You see servers miss-hit serves and flat kill the serve. It's just a short. If they come up an inch short of that and skip it in, it's a side out.
Second serve.
Desi comes over the Irish whip, hitting it about 89 miles per hour, and it just stays down. The ball doesn't come up at all.
Short. Short ball. Second serve.
This is an entertaining game, though, Dave. I mean, there's a lot of dives here. It's not the greatest play you've seen, but some of these hits are truly remarkable, especially Joe McCann just all over the court. I mean, this is just going point to point. And like you said, you thought you'd like to see a doubles match go to like 1 game to 21 would be a good one for a high-profile doubles match. This is one of those that would certainly be a qualifier for that because we still have maybe another one or even another game after that.
Well, I think the crowd would really be on the edge of their seat, Dave, if this was just a one-game match. But
timeout.
This match has another couple of
I told him
hours.
last time you can't do that anymore. I told him last time and he stopped.
A referee, a lot of chatter with the players, Dave. I don't really understand that. There's not much to say other than the score and a hinder or a...
I know, but he can't come out for water anymore. He knows that.
Referee saying that because of the towel timeout, you can't leave the court for water.
I mentioned that a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I heard that, but this time I see that there's actually a little bit of conflict between the two that we wish that were wearing boxing gloves. Tom Sheridan was doing it for the first part of this match, and then referee finally caught him and said no more. Tom moved the bottle next to the door so he can lean out and grab it. And the ref didn't catch it even after he gave him the warning, and then Desi just left to go get his bottle of water.
So what happens if you violate the warning?
I guess it could be a technical. Never seen anybody impose that one.
14 serves 11.
I think if a guy's in the court washing it down, you could certainly, if you can get back in the court before he gets out, why couldn't you take a drink of water?
I don't see why not either. I mean, do you want someone to pass out because of dehydration? I don't want that.
Is that a timeout?
For someone.
Okay. It's you guys first.
Now they all exit the courts here and they take a timeout. You're watching the World Handball Championships live in Dublin, Ireland. Great picture of the living legend Tom Sheridan. This very well could be his last open major handball tournament. He said he's going to focus on his kids, try to get them into the sport, which, by the way, he has some great handball playing kids that should be national champions soon, if not already. So that'll be delightful, and he's had a great career, and he's here in front of some of his fellow townsmen and handball players and competitors that have come out to watch Tom Sheridan play here in this men's quarterfinal match. Joe McCann as well as Desi Keegan up against Tom Sheridan and Owen Kennedy, the monument from Dublin. Owen Kennedy from Castleknock, a little township here in Dublin. As we're at City West Arena. And a beautiful day today. Now the weather changes and gives you all seasons in one day. There's some places I've been to that'll give you all seasons throughout the duration of the year. Well, you get a little bit of snow, you'll see some rain, some great sunshine, gorgeous springs, some fall. Well, that will happen in about 15 minutes in Ireland. But as we came into the complex here, the sun was shining. It was absolutely beautiful over that green grass.
I'm in. 15 serves 11.
15 to 11. Desi Keegan serving. But as soon as I say that, it very well could be snowing outside. So.
Joe with a very easy setup. Puts it on the floor. It could be a momentum changer as that would have given Joe and Desi a 16-11 lead, still serving.
15.
Instead, David's first server for Owen and Tom at 11-15. We saw them battle back from an 11-6 deficit to 10-11. And it's been one of those matches, Dave, where Joe and Desi just seem to have a lead throughout, anywhere from 5 to 1 points. Right now, it's a 4-point lead. And that's the second time Desi's gone with the off-speed fly kill splat. Missed it both times.
15.
He does have really nice touch. And And now the two errors, one from Desi and one from Joe McCann, are proving to be very costly here in the middle of this first game. It's
13 serves 15.
actually now becoming late in this first game. These guys have been on the court for nearly an hour. And there's a lot of handball left just in this first game, so you can imagine, Dave, what we have in store for us for the next couple of hours with these four.
14 serves 15. Good call. Side out.
It's interesting, Dave.
15 serves 14.
Generally, when a player calls a double bounce on himself, the crowd is applauding the player, but really what they should be applauding is the actual shot. The shot that was unable to be picked up on one bounce. And Owen hits the party ball there, Dave, that just comes out really uncharacteristically in that back right corner. Desi didn't even have a play on it, but Desi comes right back with an unreturned serve right in Owen's kitchen.
16 serves 14.
16 to 14. Desi pounds that ball off the back wall. His light blue shirt is now completely dark. Might need a shirt change here for Desi Keegan.
Tom keeps the rally alive with a sliding pick, and Desi makes the error with an Irish whip
14
left fist.
16.
On a terrible unforced error right there from, maybe it was a forced error. Desi Keegan up there on the left.
15 serves 16.
I've actually charted that as an unforced error. 2 consecutive unforced errors from the left hand of Desi Keegan, and now a forced error from Joe McCann, and we're tied here at 16. You'll hear a nice round of applause.
16 serves 16.
That's a fairly nice round of applause.
Owen and Tom, Dave, certainly with more experience than Desi and Joe, and that could be pivotal here in the later stages of this first game. I think Joe losing that into the side wall and maybe just slightly screened because that ball was way up and he just
17 serves 16.
was miles from it. Excuse me, kilometers.
That ball hits Desi Keegan after that powerful 2-wall that would have been 3-wall, maybe 4 or 5 by the time it was done flying.
Well, Desi's become very passive right
18
now.
18 serves 16.
Here in the last 5 rallies. He's passed up a couple of setups. He's also made a couple of really costly hand errors.
That's your first 1 minute.
And that was a skip, Dave, from Joe McCann. And now it's Owen Kennedy and Tom Sheridan just 2 points from taking this first game. They've trailed for most of this game, 10-6, 15-11. But now they've scored 8 of the last 9 points, and they're firmly in control here.
But haven't you noticed that that's what champions seem to do? It's not that it seems like they're really elevating their game at this moment. They're just making the right shots and no hand errors at the right critical times. And we've seen that throughout this tournament. It's really been an eye-opener for me because we track and log a lot of tournaments, but when you see real legends get into the court, certain things happen that just don't happen with other players.
30 seconds.
Well, I agree with you, Dave. A lot of times you see the difference between the champions and the contenders is not that big. But what happens is late in games, it just seems to be the champions that are able to make a couple of shots, stay away from the unforced errors, and the contenders seem to press a little bit, miss a couple of shots, and then they're out of their comfort zone, and then you see champions winning games 21-16, 21-18, and they're the guys that get all the glory, but they're really only 3, 4, 5 points better per game than these contenders.
You got to let me know.
I believe, Dave, that each tournament has what are called champions, contenders, opponents, and participants. This will actually be in my second book, which you'll be able to pick up late in 2013, detailing, Dave, each one of those categories and how every person that enters a tournament is one of those 4.
Time in. 19, serve 16.
What's interesting about that, Dave, is a contender can conceivably beat a champion, but an opponent can never beat a champion. You can only beat or lose to someone that's one level or one above you or below you.
Point. Possible game points, serve 16.
Unbelievable chain of events here. Actually, somewhat believable, but Keegan and Joe McCann were in control for the duration of this match, and all of a sudden, the legends stream back and get some late points here.
Very surprising here, as Owen and Tom have scored now 9 of the last 10 points and make that 10 of 11. Dave, very difficult in doubles to go on that kind of run.
5 minutes.
But they've done it and now are in control of this match.
We're going to take a quick timeout. It was Owen Kennedy and Tom Sheridan winning the first one, 21-16. Game number 2 coming up in about 5 minutes or so. You stick around. We'll have more action. It's the men's quarterfinals of the open bracket here at the World Handball Championships in City West Arena, Dublin, Ireland. For Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent. You stay here. We'll have game number 2 in just a bit.
Sorry? What'd you say?
I want to head out. I'll have to go around.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can go over there that way too if you want. It's easier that way.
Welcome back to City West Arena for game number 2. Desi Keegan and his doubles partner Joe McCann up against Owen Kennedy and Tom Sheridan. It was the legend Tom Sheridan and the Monument is what we call him here. Owen Kennedy is who we call the Monument here. They won the first game 21-16. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Ashleen Riley, our current world champion in the women's open division. Ashleen, first off, congratulations on what you did the other night in defeating your fellow St. Paul GAC clubmate Fiona Shannon, and also congratulations on really providing some amazing entertainment here for the crowd, who I know were very emotional with you after that amazing win in your celebration. After the fact, there were so many people reporting that they cried and they felt nervous for you, and they were smiling, and it just was truly one of the best events we've seen.
Yeah, I actually don't remember the celebration at all. So people are reporting back to me on it. But yeah, it was a good night. Has
it hit you yet?
Kind of. Yesterday morning it slightly did, yeah. Still feels a bit surreal at the minute.
Probably a feeling that you don't want to ever go away.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, not the next few days anyway.
This doubles match is one of those typical 2.5-hour grind them out type matches, and you're replacing Dave Fink because frankly it's gone past his allotted union time. They only allow him to talk in 1 hour and 30-minute increments, or else we have to pay him time and a half.
His wife scheduled some time with him today, so he's gonna have to take her out.
It's just the way it goes.
1 serves 2.
This is the quickest that 4 points have ever been scored in this this whole doubles match so far to this point.
Yeah, there's loads of rallies. There's hardly any kill shots.
Second serve.
Seem to be rallying an awful lot. Ball looked like it's skidded down the top left-hand corner.
Desi Keegan was known as being one of the hardest hitters in the game, and his name just kind of disappeared for the last couple years, Ashleen, because Paul Brady has really kind of taken that to a different level. We've seen a couple times with Desi winding up off the back wall, still having that snap on the ball, but in the middle of the rally at about the dotted line, even though there's no dots here on this court, you're really seeing Paul Brady do some remarkable things these days.
Yeah, he hits the ball extra hard, actually. I think whenever I went up the other day to the front wall, I think there was a hole in the ball.
It's actually kind of remarkable because I went to the back, and during one of his serves, I put my hand on the back wall, and you can actually really feel the wall move.
Yeah.
In the women's open bracket, in the years that you've played, you're 23 years of age, but in the years you played, who was the one that hit the ball the hardest for the women that you've competed against?
I think over the last few years, the women are starting to hit the ball pretty hard. Tracy Davis, she can find the ball. Bailey Chandler, she opens her shoulders, she gets behind the ball, she hits it pretty hard too. Fiona Shannon, Maria Daly. There's an awful lot of girls can hit the ball really hard now these days.
Side out.
I really felt that Tracy Davis was the one that seems like she's probably right up there with one of the hardest hitters of all time. Back home in Tucson, Arizona, where we get to spar a lot, there's times where she's the hardest hitter in the court in a game of doubles with some hard hitters.
Yeah.
Because she gets so much leverage with those long arms, and she has these long legs where she can take a step and those arms come together, and when everything works right, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine what Tracy Davis would have done if she would have picked up a tennis racket at a young age. But here is Joe McCann and Owen Kennedy battling it out over there on the right wall, and there's the
out.
The miss from Joe McCann. There's a side out now with Owen Kennedy trying to go into the semifinals.
2 serves 4.
As the captain of his team here. 2-4. You've been in Ireland for your whole life, and you've seen the press, and you've watched these big matches. One of the biggest big game players of all time is Tom Sheridan. What are your thoughts about Tom
2 serves 4.
over the span of the time that you started playing and the type of press that he was getting later in his career?
I actually feel that I'm very fortunate that I was able to see Tom play in his prime, and even I still think he's in his prime now. He's probably one of the best left-handers, even at 43, 44, and he's still mixing with the very best at the top of the game. And he's holding his own out there today. You know, he's pretty steady, and he's going for his kills and diving all over the shop as well.
Point.
I think he and Owen make actually a really good team. Owen would normally be the left side partner for some of these players. I know in the past he would play with Tony Healy on the right side, and then they'd switch when he was serving. I always felt they were such a potent type team, but Tom Sheridan, of course, being the lefty, plays the left. And I know you're one of the most cerebral handball players out there on the planet. I know you think about things and you have a methodical game, but you can also hit the ball really hard yourself. And do you ever think that maybe the left-handed player would be better on the right side than, because it seems like the majority of the balls that go to the left-handed side player, they take with their right hand.
Yeah,
that's a handout.
And it seems to me that a guy like Tom is having to do a lot more footwork
5 serves 2.
to bring that ball out with his left. And he seems like if he was over on the right side, see how the right side player is using a lot more of their left in the middle. Imagine a left-handed guy up there being able to poke those balls. See how Tom is pushed off to the right side because he wants to take that with a strong hand, but that puts him out of position. I almost think that if he was up front cutting balls off and pounding into the corners, it would be much more effective.
6 serves 2.
That actually makes pretty good sense.
You just don't see a lot of guys doing that. And I don't understand why.
It's usually left-handed player stands on the left-hand side. That's usually the way it goes. I suppose nobody really thinks about it that much.
I know that John Bike and Tony Severa won a national championship with John Bike playing on the right side, and he was arguably the greatest left-handed player of all time.
Yeah.
But then again, Tony Severa was so good, and it was a little before your time, even though you're going to be able to see him at the U.S. Open this year playing pro doubles, which is going to be nice.
Replay.
Little congestion over there on that left wall. Joe McCann and Desi Keegan have a completely different style of open doubles, Ashleen.
Yeah.
Desi prefers to play more of the up front left, with Joe playing the right side back deep. He sweeps around and covers Desi on that left wall, and you don't see too many people doing that. I call it a modified I formation.
Yeah. See, Desi's pretty straight up and down the glass wall, whereas you see Joe's filtering around the back and covering him as much as he can. Then you've got Tom, obviously, who's going for his kills, and Owen is just popping them back up.
Desi just likes to plant his back against that side wall, and
good call.
He normally stands right near that short line and kind of plugging up the system, and Joe comes back to cover balls that are two-wall passing on that left over his head, or that will pass him, or that Desi will let go. It's just a really weird format. When you play against somebody that has these strange setups, it takes you a while to get used to what works.
Yeah, but obviously Desi and Joe, it must work because they've been multiple All-Ireland finals, won in All-Ireland a couple of years ago. So they found a formation that works and that they're sticking with it.
There's a lot of players that don't like to play on the glass because it seems like they're out of position. Desi actually is touching it. He could easily come out another 4 or 5 feet, but he's so close to the glass almost on every shot.
Especially this glass, it's pretty dark. It's hard to see the ball.
It's a skip. Point.
Always call that a skip
skip
ball.
that popped up.
I saw it skip as well. It was strange to see that fist pump from Desi Keegan. He's going to come out and talk to the referee. Let's look at this replay. Revolving door.
Okay, they're feeling if that ball was good or not.
You see that first bounce.
Decision or no?
Yeah.
We didn't get to see it on the front wall there, but it was clear that the first bounce checked up.
Agrees with me. He agrees with me that I was down.
The ball was down. The first bounce had the reverse spin, which means it checks up on the ground. And one guy said to me one time, Ashleen, what would the opposite of that look like? Here it is right here from this camera.
You guys take a timeout?
And if you think about the opposite,
Okay.
the ball wouldn't have done that if it would have hit the ground first in their mind.
Should have come straight out instead of checking.
And you're going to see it right here on this play. Joe goes to that corner. And, of course, Joe standing right
in front of the ball.
In front of the ball. Luckily for us, we have an unobstructed view of that right corner. It's over to our right that way, where we're able to actually just look right into the corner, and it was clear that that ball checked up into the ground and then popped up. You're watching the World Handball Championships in the quarterfinals here. My name is Dave Vincent alongside the current World Women's Handball Champion. You didn't get a crystal, but you got a nice little trophy that you're wearing around your neck now.
No, this is my player pass.
I thought you were...
That would be cool if we just walked around with
just walk around with it the whole tournament. I would be doing
that. You tell me
get on the tram, go into town, wear the medal.
Few free dinners, free drinks at the bar.
I don't think you'll ever have to buy a dinner or a drink again here at City West. You walked into dinner yesterday, or the night that you won your championship, and everybody in the restaurant stood up and gave you a standing ovation. That's the little things about Ireland that just make this trip so special. How did you feel when you walked into the restaurant and everybody gave you a standing ovation and they clapped for you? And what did that feel like?
They had 3-6, now they have 4-6. That was a skip.
Embarrassing.
4-6.
I don't like it when everybody kind of all eyes are on you.
Oh yeah, right.
But then quickly got used to it.
You didn't realize that there were 3,500 people all watching you in the stands when you were playing?
You notice before you go in, but whenever you're in there, you don't block everything else out. Everybody's beady eyes.
Well, when I go to a restaurant, I block everything out except for the appetizer menu.
And the plate.
Look at this get right there.
Good
Sheridan
call.
said that it was a 2-bounce call.
Great call.
Six serves 4.
Complete miss hit there from
Hand
Desi.
out.
He swung a completely missed ball.
Joe and Desi were dominating the first game. And then all of a sudden at the very end, it was 8 straight points from Owen Kennedy and Tom Sheridan. And that one's going to make the front wall, but
side out.
It's a side out.
4 serves 6.
A dominating performance gave Owen and Sheridan a win there.
Yep.
And even though they're trailing here, there's just no lead that's safe. These guys, and I was mentioning it to Dave Fink earlier before you came in.
2 serves, 1 screen.
What is it about you champions that you could be matched against maybe a lesser player, and then all of a sudden when you want to win, you just don't make mistakes? I mean, you saw it here with Owen Kennedy and Tom Sheridan. They've been in so many big game matches before. They were trailing for the whole match, and then all of a sudden they just never made one hand error when it really counted. Why does a champion have the ability to do that? They just been there so many times, or they don't tighten up?
It's kind of a mixture. Whenever the more you play, the looser you become, and the more the shots just start to come naturally. So obviously if you're playing and your shoulders really tight, you're obviously going to miss. And these have been in multiple finals, so so they're pretty used to the big games as well.
6 serves 4.
Score here is 6-4. You see a lot of players that'll tighten up and they want to try to force shots to happen because they feel like that's what the big champions do. They make things happen, and that's just sometimes not playing the style of game that they should be taking or playing. Those champions are still relaxed at those final points.
I suppose just picking the right shots at the right time.
Referee letting all that congestion play through, even though Desi Keegan's going to look back, and
Tom's just rolled it out there.
Desi Keegan's going to ask for some type of hinder here.
Cover ball.
What?
Tom is telling us ridiculous.
The ball skidded on me. I'm appealing a skid ball on me.
Oh, you mean like...
skid
I
ball.
was like this, next time up like this. Yeah, appeal a skid. Even if there was.
You mean a slide?
Yeah.
A slide?
Yeah, slide.
I was on the left wall? He's
It's about 4
appealing
shots
a slide.
back. Desi Keegan is appealing a slide.
It was a slide ball. I was down like this.
Tom Sheridan says you just can't do
well,
that,
I'm gonna appeal
although
it and we'll see.
let's look
He's
here. He said it
appealing a
was
slide
down
ball.
low. I think that's where it would have been right there.
I didn't see a slide there.
Linesman didn't see it. That's a handout.
Desi and Tom Sheridan are not exchanging pleasant words right now. They're not exchanging recipes about how to make biscuits. There's some contact. It's going to be played over.
Yeah.
Replay.
Owen Kennedy had to fight through a pick there.
6 serves 4.
Didn't move at all. Short ball, look.
For some reason, where the referee is standing, he just can't see if that's short or not. But if he was elevated just a couple feet, I like that shot right there from McCann, but it was just closed out. And now you see Tom Sheridan throwing his fists together in Desi Keegan's face.
They would have appealed the serve.
6.
They could have.
I suppose after 5 shots you forget.
Point.
During your finals match the other night, as it's 5-6 here in the second game with Owen and Tom winning the first one, but in the tiebreaker, I saw that you had about 3 real unfortunate calls from the referee, and it seemed like you were going up against the crowd that was rooting for Fiona. You're going up against Fiona herself, who was really concerned about you hopping on the court, which I found just really odd that she would say that, since you were out of her view, and also her lobbying for screen calls when you're laying flat on your face on the ground and completely out of her way. How do you get over some of that stuff and just play your game? Because it, you know, even a champion could sit here and say, they're out to get me here, and it seemed like they were out to get you there at the very end of that final.
6 serves 5.
Yeah, the particular 2 calls, what was a cover ball, and the other one was obviously when I was laying flat on the face. But believe it or believe not, I actually, in training, I practiced dodgy calls like that, so, and what to do in that scenario. So it was just the matter of block it out. There's nothing I can do about the call once the referee's made the decision.
What do you do in practice? I hate to ask. To practice something like that, I can tell you what I've learned over the years is that some of the top players have started playing with playing all bounces. No, you don't take anything over, and every bad bounce that you have to play in the middle of the rally represents a bad call from a referee. So you might get jaded on that bad bounce, and you lose the serve because of it.
Yep.
And then you say to yourself, well, I'm playing it this way because I want that feeling of knowing that it was something that's out of my control. So how do you practice it?
That is exactly what happens. Like, if there's a short that's an obvious short, and the other player says, no, you know, you're not taking that, just move on. Yes, there's a bit of an argument, but obviously in front of 2,500 people, you don't want to let yourself down.
And Tom Sheridan dips that ball into the front wall, gives a quick eye glance back to Kennedy. Is starting to get a little heated in here between these 4, I should say.
7 serves 5. 2 point. 8 serves 5.
You saw Desi Keegan flatten out a ball there on that previous serve to Owen, where he put a reverse on it. How do you reverse or natural the women's ball? It seems a little bit too spongy to effectively do that too.
I think it's easier to put a natural on it than it is to put a reverse on it. But yeah, it is pretty difficult because it kind of does what it wants to do anyway. It's much easier with the men's ball because it's a bit harder.
It's heavier, and you can bring it through your hands and feel it a little bit more, I'm sure. Oh, look at that kill right there from Owen Kennedy, and the crowd's getting behind the legendary team from Dublin, Ireland. It's the quarterfinals of the men's open division in the doubles bracket here at City West Arena, World Handball Championships. Ashleen Riley, alongside yours truly, Dave Vincent. Ashleen is
8 to 5, or 5 serves 8 now.
Your name actually, Ashley, if we're going to say it in more of a literal term, or is this Ashleen? That's just the way it is.
Ashleen.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
It doesn't mean anything in Gaelic.
It does. Yeah, it's the same in Irish, but it means like a vision.
A vision.
Who's the second linesman?
I asked my mother, was it a good vision or a bad vision? She said, look, I don't really want to answer that question.
Okay, so it's like the Trinity.
Good enough.
Yeah.
call you? Ashleen Trinity Riley.
Ashleen the Vision. Don't tell me if it's a good vision or a bad vision.
20 seconds, Tom.
Well, you have really good vision. You came out a couple nights ago to the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of. And
10 seconds.
You were stunned in that first game when everything you tried didn't work, and then you're one of those players who stays within yourself more so than pretty much any other player we've ever seen.
Oh, God.
And it almost seemed like, from my perspective, just as an analyst, that you were calming yourself down too much. You almost brought yourself down and said, I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna be passive. And you almost played too passive. And then when you came back out in the second game, the real you showed up. And that's the one that we thought we'd see in the first game. What happened in that first game?
I think I just tried to be too defensive and just tried to go to the ceiling and put her under pressure. But she was actually putting me under pressure on the ceiling. Up when the ball was coming back into the back of the court. I, at some stages, actually couldn't see it. But then gradually, as I felt my way into the game and started up with the shoulders and started hitting the hard kills and playing my game, really.
You also started hitting that hard serve, and that just changed everything. She had you in the backcourt for the duration of the first game, and then you did the same thing back to her. And, of course, you dominated there in the tiebreaker, but it got close with some strange calls from the referee. And, of course, she made some really top plays there at the end that brought her a little bit closer, and it made things interesting here. And then you won with that amazing celebration, winning the title, which is, I'm sure, there's nothing that's been better than that in your career.
Point.
No.
At the time, it was the greatest thing I ever saw, and then Paul Brady came out and did that amazing comeback. I still believe your match, the total, the work of your match was the greatest thing I've ever witnessed, but that one game from Paul Brady was just a great encore to what we saw you do, and that celebration kind of reminded me as if somebody just got done winning Wimbledon. It was just a really, just a positive feeling, and people here, they felt great about your win. They were inspired. They cried. But there were some other people that, at the same time, they cried for you, but also their heart bled for Fiona Shannon, who's done so much to help promote the sport of handball here, and really women's handball in Ireland.
Well, it's particularly from, obviously we're from the same club, as I keep saying, and we had quite a few club members down, which were split. So obviously they were cheering for both of us. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that in that way that one of us from the same club has to lose, because we both have to go back at the end of the day. I suppose that's what happened to me in 2009.
On 2009, you really should have won that, because you had a great tournament leading up to that point, and I think your arm was sore, and she played good ball, but you had a really good score there. I really anticipated you winning that before that tournament took place, so it's nice to see that you got it back. This very well could have been your second straight World Championship.
Could have been.
Back to this match, though. We've been talking for 30 minutes, and there's only been 2 points scored.
Handout.
It's 4 o'clock here in Ireland at the moment. And this match was scheduled to start at 1:30.
Replay that. Replay.
If that means anything.
Saw a bad
I'm
bounce
scheduled
there.
to be on for 4:30. And there's another game on after
serves
this.
9. Football.
There's another.
Your back foot again.
Ladies quarterfinal.
7 matches.
Second serve.
After this, before we can get something to eat here in the broadcast booth.
7 serves 9.
You actually have a match coming up in a few hours when you and your doubles partner Lorraine Havern will go up against Tracy Davis and Bailey Chandler, finalists of the 4-Wall Nationals.
There is contact from before.
At Los Caballeros Sports Village, I believe you beat her
7 serves 9
in that national.
With a different partner.
With somebody different. Let me try to guess who that was. Maria Daly?
Ashley Prenderville.
Ashley.
He is partner Maria Daly this week.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I know Dave Fink would have said it within 3 seconds. I actually have to think about it. That ball fought off by Joe McCann with a left-handed paddle up front, more or less just sticking his hand out.
Yeah, I don't think he's seen that coming at all. He just
9 serves 7.
Put a hand out and hope for the best.
That's frustrating right there. It really comes down to see who makes the hand errors here.
9 serves 7.
There's not a lot of bottom board play, and then when there is a bottom board being hit,
short ball.
These guys seem to be digging it out. I really believe doubles at this level needs to be reduced to either 2 games to 15 and a breaker to 11, or just a 1 big game to 25, because you could literally go to 3 hours long here.
Yeah.
And this has always been the knock on professional doubles. You get to see some amazing play.
But it's a completely different strategy to singles, because it seems just pass, 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 wrap around the wall. There's Owen. I felt could have pushed that into the right-hand corner, and he just brought it back again.
Strange shot right there from Tom Sheridan. That's his only knock on his career, is that he doesn't have a truly developed right hand, but his left hand is like a lightning bolt, so he makes up for it.
This is a great rally here. Oh.
And that's the first miss, and it really comes down to whoever's going to miss.
Side out.
I mean, we have a lot of shot makers in here, but points aren't being scored on shots.
7 serves 9.
We looked at the show court schedule today and said, well, we're getting out at 3 in the morning.
Point.
I may not get on to 3 in the morning.
You won't be here till 3 in the morning, but I have a feeling. And to make matters worse, after the previous match, they could not locate a referee, and it was 43 minutes late. Finding a referee. We are already about an hour and a half late at the time, so that has pushed us even further down the schedule.
I think we've run behind schedule every day this week.
It's true.
Time in. Score is 8 serves 9.
You come to expect it, but the little things like the referee thing makes it very difficult, because some of these players have to come back later tonight and play, and even though it's relative to the time, oftentimes tournament directors will bounce certain matches from the show court to get it back on schedule.
8 serves 9.
And a match like this, because of a late referee, gives a disadvantage to one side of the bracket and a more of an advantage to the other, because the other guys get to sit back and relax for their full time. The other guys have to basically go take a shower, change clothes, get something to eat, sit around for about an hour, and they're back on again. And we've seen that time and time again. There's another side out here.
8 serves 9.
Tom's doing a whole lot of running here. I thought that ball was short.
Well, if you saw it short, it probably was. You've got the youngest eyes here, and nobody's going to appeal that.
Point.
Joe McCann is now appealing, or maybe he's asking for a towel.
Appeal the serve.
All right, they're appealing the serve. Linesman.
I saw it about a
they're appealing
couple,
the serve.
well, about an inch short.
Don't think the linesman can remember what happened in the serve.
Yeah, that was short, unless
they're appealing the serve.
It was an optical illusion there. Okay. I saw that short.
Ball was good. It's a point.
I saw it short first.
Yeah, you did. You actually said it first.
Yep.
I've decided never to say it again, because no matter what, they don't change. Here's where the ball hits the ground. Watch the ball slowly hit right there.
9 short.
Clearly short from that angle. Now we're back into play here. makes really no difference. It just slows everything down more, that appeal. Unless this game comes down to 21-20, which very well could. You might remember that short call. Or we might remember that one from Joe McCann, who gets hit by the ball off the side wall. How difficult is it to see in the black hole around the corners here at the court?
10,
also up in that front
9.
left where there's a big screen TV in the back, and it seems like you're looking at a lot of different looks here.
I think from like the spectator point of view, everything's really clear, but when you're in there are literally 4 or 5 black holes, front left, front right, back left, back right, and especially with the ladies' ball, it's dark blue. So sometimes you're just swinging and hoping for the best.
Whoa, time out.
But it is pretty tough to see in there.
Well, the ball that
the
women play with, it's almost a purple color, just an off blue, and it looks identical to the color of the glass. And I actually felt more sorry for you guys, you ladies, for having to go up against that, because it just seems absolutely unfair in a lot of ways. And this new ball that they've created for the men almost has a white feel to it at times. When you see it, it's gathering either court dust or it's a blue ball, but it's a light blue, and it seems somewhat white. And then you have to go in there and play with that dark purple in this court. It's just, I guess you have to be more sharp.
Together at 10.
That's why I said, if you're going to see if that ball's short from here, then it must be short, because you're having to deal with that ball.
Serves 10.
Setup.
Point.
Joe taking a little bit off that, and I think that's what those guys are going to have to do
10.
here. Is they're going to have to take balls off going into the corners, because everything is popping out toward the middle of this.
Replay.
There's so many hard hitters in this court that the ball just.
12 serves 10.
The ball's just flying out of those corners.
Great serve, right in the old body there, and there's nothing he could do. He couldn't get out of the way quick enough.
13 serves 10. Short ball. Second serve.
Just skip that in. See there, the Desi and Joe's kind of role reversed there.
10
Desi was
serves
sweeping
13.
around the back and Joe camped out up front.
Which is interesting. That's why I say it's very difficult to play those guys, because I don't know if they really know what to do until they get into a certain position. But there's a lot of other players that stay in the same format no matter what happens. They'll just stay, I'm on the right, I'm on the left. If a ball fools one of the players, they look at the other guy and say, why weren't you there to cover it? Yeah. With Joe and Desi, they just take care of the ball, and the other guy goes back into some position that they've predetermined, which...
Yeah, it's kind of automatic to them.
11 serves 13.
Desi lining up to hit the bottom board. He completely swung and missed the ball.
You would have to think that these guys are getting tired after this onslaught of 40-shot rallies. Eventually, somebody's going to have to swing and miss or just make a hand error. And there's Steady Freddy right there, Owen Kennedy. So methodical in his approach, but he could play ground and pound when he wants to.
Together at 13.
And there's a round of applause from the very educated crowd here. be a setup right there for Desi. He just pounds it at Owen, and he just flips it right back.
Miss hit, but he got it to the wall.
I don't see how a rally ever stops with these guys in here.
Like
well,
that.
I guess that's how you do it.
It's a handout.
But it must have been about 50 shots before someone had the courage to try and hit the bottom board.
13 serves 13. Point.
I can see why it took so long for the referee to get here. Nobody wanted
to ref it.
spend. You could have
4
gone
hours.
into downtown Dublin, had a couple pints at Temple Bar, and been back before
And
this ended.
sobered up and been back.
Yeah, no kidding.
15 serves 13.
Joe and Desi are working so hard to get points, and then just like that,
Point. Timeout.
they're throwing silly points away. That must have been a third hander.
It's your first.
But that's exactly what we saw in the first game. The same exact thing where everything was close until about this point when Owen and Tom Sheridan just pulled
16-13.
away.
This guy's got it right.
Tom Sheridan, at 44 years of age, can you imagine? You get out of bed in the morning after these rounds of handball and you do certain things to your body that you don't do in practice, and you can't really quantify it. You can't even practice for it. And you come here and you play one little tiny showdown match, and the next day you can't even walk. And
Well,
yet,
I'm 23 and I fall out of bed. So, wonder what he feels like at 44.
and you're part of the Sports Institute up there in Belfast.
Yep.
So
I fall out of bed into the gym.
fall out of bed, you do your push-ups, clap your hands, and
Star
walk at the
jumps.
same time down the
It's a warm-up.
hallway.
Yep.
I told everybody that
20 seconds.
I asked you one time, oh, so the Sports Institute's a lot like P90X. And you just looked at me and you're like, P90X? That's terrible. I mean, I would never even touch that. That's what amateurs do.
Time, Tom.
I made that whole story up, but
I just know
it sounds
say
really
yes.
good. Sounds really good.
All right, time in.
Your actual quote on that was, I'll tell you what the P in P90X stands for.
Score is 16 serves
And I go,
13.
wow, I'm not going there with you, but I can use my imagination.
I'll just keep it like that then.
We'll just let that go.
Point.
Another quick point.
17 serves 13.
Not a very good timeout for Desi and Joe McCann there. Quick point for Team Legend.
I think they needed to take the time out to kind of break their rhythm, but it's not really working.
Let's see what this ball does right here. And Tom Sheridan hits the ball into the ground. That might be a momentum breaker, but we'll see. Desi and Joe need to score a couple points in this shift.
13 serves 17.
I don't remember exactly what time this match started. Still haven't changed my clocks from West Coast time. But I believe it was about 7 a.m. on the West Coast,
Handout.
which I think is 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. 2:18. I don't remember exactly what time it was, to be honest.
Like 4:20.
I think it was 2 o'clock, and now it's 4:20, so it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Let's replay. Replay 13 serves 17.
Thankfully, the women's doubles doesn't run so late.
The women's doubles match is normally shorter.
Not 2 hours 20 minutes.
I mean, you're not going to see 70-shot rallies and ended by a screen call or
I
a
don't think
floor
so.
wipe. Look
Hold
at this.
it.
Look Look at this action here.
I gotta call that a point.
What?
Oh.
There's an avoidable called here. First one of the match. That's an unbelievable call from the referee.
I just seen the ball at any stage. The ball was
And I know if you don't see the ball, but I got to call that. He had a straight setup in the front, and you were right in his swing. He could have hit his arm on you. I got to call it avoidable, and that's a point.
Yeah, I guess I agree with the referee there. But this has been happening the whole match.
All right,
he warned them about 5 hours ago when this first started that he was going to call that. It's nice to see he lives up to his word there. On that replay, it was obvious.
Yeah.
From this angle here, I saw Desi coming from the left, didn't realize he was that close to Tom.
Tom didn't move, he just ducked down.
And Tom, that's not an avoidable?
I think it was a mishit. That could have been an avoidable.
Well, I accidentally put my foot down on the accelerator and got a ticket from the police officer. Call it a misstep. But it's still speeding.
Side out.
And that's kind of the thing that Tom Sheridan was saying is I just lost the ball in the glass, so it shouldn't be an avoidable because I couldn't see it.
14.
The referee says, well, it doesn't really matter. You're still in the way.
Yeah. Stu just stood and put his hands up.
Point.
There's a point for team legend here. Owen Kennedy now with Tom Sheridan at 18
serves 14.
to 14.
They're scoring most of their points if they take a bit of pace off the ball instead of pounding it all the time.
And that might be out of fatigue.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, though, it might be boring to watch these 70-shot rallies, but it's really fun to play them. Because you have to really use your mind, Ashley, and you probably just love playing doubles at a high level. Just because you have a great mind when it comes to the game.
I like playing doubles because there's not as much involved as there is in singles. At least if something happens, you can blame somebody else.
True. I've never made a mistake in doubles. Always my doubles partner. Another great thing about doubles, and I think you just kind of alluded to it there, is
point.
You can go long enough during rallies to kind of take a little break and not have to exert yourself, and then you have your second, third wind, and
2-minute
you
glove
can still
change.
play with a lot of power. It's a 2-minute glove change. We're also going to take a break here. We'll be back in just a bit. You stick around with more handball action in the men's quarterfinals of the World Handball Championships alongside current world champion Ashleen Riley. My name is Dave Vincent. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay here.
You're good. Can I see your gloves? Good. You guys are tough to ref, dude. Like, freaking Desi's like in the way. Everyone's getting a little pissy too. Is what it is. Huh? No, they're getting angry. Well, it's not my fault. It's entertaining though. All right, 30 seconds, guys. $20 seconds. Huh?
Give them a point, sure, they're on 19.
Oh, I'm not going to.
We are back live at City West Arena for game number 2. Game number 2 and a 2-minute timeout. And we're already burned out, and we've only have done one game, not even a game for you, Aisling Riley.
Not even a full game, no. This is like the most talking I do in an entire week.
Year. This is actually a whole year for you.
Yeah.
All right, time is in.
I'm running out of words.
You do a lot of texting.
14.
19 to 14. I watched there's a side out here.
Point.
Excuse me, a point now, 20 to 14. This is game and match
Possible
point.
game and match point serves 14.
This will be a huge upset if Joe and Desi go in at this stage. Like a ranked number 2 in Ireland.
Well, I have a feeling they just lost.
Oh.
Oh, and Owen, excuse me, Tom Sheridan did not want that hand from Desi. Tom wants to come in here and get an ace serve. See if he goes for the crack on the first one here.
Have to go for the crack serve. Short
ball.
Boy, he went with a cool little reverse down the side there. From a lefty coming over to the right side with a reverse is just brutal because you just rarely ever see it in your entire life.
He went for the crack on the second serve.
This can be tough. And it is. There it is. The legends, Tom Sheridan and Owen Kennedy, the monument here in Ireland, take down one of the top teams, if not the #1 team in Ireland at the moment, Desi Keegan and Joe McCann. This means that Owen and Sheridan will go into the semifinals tonight.
Hey, good job.
And they will play Paul Brady and Mike Finnegan. And that was 2 games, 21 to 19, 21 to 14. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We have more action right around the corner with the women's quarterfinals. For Aisling Riley, my name is Dave Vincent. You're watching the World Handball Championships in Dublin, Ireland. We'll be back with more action in just a few minutes. Stay here.
I got it.
Right, they're stuck in. Aye, can I get 2 line judges, lads? Anyone do the lines? Who was roaring at me earlier on? Somebody do a line. You do a line, Berkey. Hey, will one of you do the line? Will you do a line? You do theirs. I need one more, lads. Come on, yeah. If you're covered, just give a shout. We'll just go straight, alright? Because I know it's going to be hard. I got no card. That's what we're waiting for. So. Serve, baby. Who can mark that? The buttons. Can somebody do that? How'd you do that?
Just to make sure we have the signals correct.
If I call a short, and you whatever I say, you agree, and if you disagree, just go down. Doesn't matter. How'd you work this? Can you do it? Can you do the score now? What? Hey! The girls, sir. The girls. Fiona Shannon and the Shannons. Ladies open, Dial and Hilly, yeah, it's Fiona. If you want, it's only for me. Yeah. What? Singing. Hello? You hear me? You got another one. Look, they're after finding it. It's over there. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me? Lisa, can you hear me? Okay, so let's, our girls, 0-0. That's a mark. 1-0. Mark. 2-0. Mark. 3-0. Mark. 4-0. One short. Mark. 5-0. One short. 6-0. Short. And out. 0, play 6. Take it again, take it again. 0-6. One, 6. Mark. 2, 6. Second hand. 2, 6. Hand out. 6, 2. Second hand. 6, 2. Mark. 7, 2. Mark. 8, 2. 9, 2. One timeout, score is 10-2. Yeah. It was just Robbie was looking for someone, and I said no. And next thing, they were there for another 10 minutes, and I said, look, yeah. Just to get it going. They're easy to ref anyway. Okay, it's 10-2. And out. 2-10. Second hand. 2-10. It's a mark. 3-10. And off. 10 serves to 3. Second hand. Can't see. 10 serves to 3. And out. 3 serves to 10. Second hand. 3-10. Three. It's a mark. 11-3. 12-3. 2nd hand. 12-3. 13-3. 13-3. 14-3. 3-14. 4-14. 2nd hand. 4-14. And out. 14-4. 15-4. 2nd hand. Time out. I was last night. Yeah. Sure, if you want us, Patricia Dynham, she used to play with Noel Casey. What's that? No, they're Wicklow. It's the Wicklow girl, remember? No, we was just a Sheridan, yeah. They're from Coolby. Remember she used to play Noel Casey? Patricia. Shauna Healy. Yeah. Okay. Fiona to serve. Score is 54. Four. One shot. 17-4. Colgan. 17-4. One hander. Check the ball, girls. 17-4. Eighteen, 4. Nineteen, 4. Four 19. Five 19. Six 19. Seven 19. Hold on, just 1 second, Shauna. I gave the shot for Tricia was standing in front of Fiona, okay? That's a handout. Second serve. 7-19. Handout. Okay. 19-7. Second hand. Nineteen, 7. Game ball to 7. Seven 20. Second hand. 7-20. Hand out. 27. Time out. Fiona to serve. Okay. Score is 27. First game, 21-7. Craddock. Last time, just no interest. He's beating in the singles. The guy that beat me won. He beat the shit out of everyone else. He beat everybody else, you know.
Spell.
I'm coming at the top. We celebrated with Pat Ryan till 5:30 this morning. We had some sinks on. Decky, Ferrari, all the tip boys. We just had brilliant crack. We had.
Just stand back, full girl, they're all going. Are we on here, are we?
Don't know.
How would I find out?
Get the schedule. You alright? Johnny? Do we take it off?
No, it's fine. It's just
Do you want injury? Time? Can I take a few minutes? Shauna, I know it gets a bit tight in there, but I'm trying to keep. I know. Yeah, there's no hassle. If it's. That's all. Okay. Sorry. Because it is tight to 4 year in the middle of the court. Like, usually it's side by side, you're nearly front and back all the. He's right. Take your time. Okay, Curtis, whenever you're ready. Zero, zero. Shard. Hand out. 0-0. Second hand. Zero, zero. One, zero. Mark. 2-0. We take that again. Okay. 2-0. Okay, let's check the ball. 2-0. Three, 0. Four, 0. Five, 0. Six, 0. Seven, 0. Eight, 0. Nine, 0. Timeout. Score is 10-0. Ten, 0. Eleven, 0. Find out straight away, okay? Okay, so lads, they're taking an injury timeout. Taking an injury timeout.